at some point I should speak in this vlog. Today has been a pretty quiet day. I started off getting some of my pages done for A Storm of Swords. I read a bit of Catelyn and Jaime Lannister. They're not my favorite perspectives. I think my favorites are more the Night's Watch. I don't mind Tyrion Lannister. Arya Stark is pretty interesting. Maybe a hot take, but I think my least favorite perspective to read is Daenerys. A lot of her chapters with the free folk, I think that's what they're called in this fantasy world, and they're kind of rulers of their own lands. It leans aesthetically towards like pirate, and that's not really my thing. Like, I want her to just get back to Westeros and, you know, we could pick up the story from there. But of course she has to make her way there, so we do have to kind of travel with her as she goes through all these lands and builds up an army and all of that. I like her, but not so much plodding along with her journey thus far. But I'm about this far in, and after I eat this nectarine, I think I'm gonna spend some time with this. Earlier today, I did pick up and finish volume 6 of Heartstopper, which I loved. It was so cute. As expected, a perfect pick-me-up. Yes, there were certain issues like eating disorders, a bit of anxiety spoken about in here, but it's so realistic, and I kind of wish I was the age range of these characters and had this to read growing up. It's really inclusive, it's really positive, and I just think anyone young, if given the opportunity, should try to pick these up. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, only because yes, it was cute. There were lovely little inclusions of an elderly gay couple that visits the cafe that Charlie works in, and it was, oh my goodness, it was so cute. I did like the small reconciliation between Nick and his brother. Nick in this volume, I guess spoiler, but he volunteers for a dog shelter, and one of the dogs that he's caring for is pretty reserved. He doesn't like to run off and play with the other dogs. He kind of stays behind and is a bit shy, and so Nick finds a way to meet the dog where he is and just kind of play with him and make him feel comfortable opening up by himself away from everyone else until he's more confident. And then Biscuit is happy enough and sociable enough to get adopted. So that is like a stand-in for Nick himself. He is a little bit more cautious in sharing his feelings, unlike Charlie and maybe his friend group. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to open up to people, he just struggles. Biscuit served as a good proxy for Nick in the story, and little touches like these I really liked. I even liked Tori and her boyfriend Mike and him getting into the Olympics, which was pretty cool, very random, but I didn't know, you know, what it takes to be, I guess he's a speed skater or something, but I didn't know the specifics of what it took to make it onto a national team. So that was pretty cool. Little things like that. The only thing is I wish the side characters, the friend group, wasn't so much to the background. I know the main characters are Nick and Charlie, but it would have been nice to kind of explore a little bit more of the friend group. Oh, Alfie, the little boy. I know I've said it like too many times, but like, this is lovely and so cute. Alfie is like Charlie's little protege. He's protecting him in school. It's just a beautiful story. I'm sad that it finished, but I did end up, as soon as I finished this, going to watch the movie adaptation, and it was also lovely. There were some reworkings of events in the book, which is interesting because the movie as well as the TV show were written by Alice Oseman, who also obviously wrote the graphic novels. The movie did expound a little bit more on the friendships that I was missing in the novel, and did speak more specifically to the moment. One of the characters, Elle, in the film, she does take some time to point out the injustices that trans people, I guess in the UK, face. That was important, and I did like the specificity of that and speaking to the times in the film. It's been a lovely way to spend my Sunday, so I can check this off. I mentioned this in my summer TBR. Check, go me. And next, I kind of am on a time crunch because this next book is due on Wednesday at the library. I have not started it, but I am excited regardless to start this. It is Basic by Lena Dunham. I really like Lena Dunham. She's like a hated entity, I guess, but I just think she's really sharp, really funny. I loved Girls. Again, I know many people didn't like Girls, but it worked for me, and I don't know, I guess it's bad, but I kind of related to a lot of the characters in it. And yeah, I want to just hear what she has to say about her own life. I've already heard some things about Jack Antonoff and her cheating on him or something or another, but I'm hoping it moves quickly. She's a humorist, so I'm expecting some comedy in here, and she's brutally honest. That's a fact. I just want to know what all the hype is about with this one, but I'll be honest, I do, before diving into that one, want to pick back up with A Storm of Swords because I'm in the mood for it. So let me just finish this kind of unripened nectarine and get right into A Storm of Swords.
Who look what's for you? They look like, bitch, I'm ready to get out of this. If I could break my neck to get out of here right now, to go on hiatus as well, bitch, I will.
So after 13 years, I now know what the Red Wedding is. I was alive and well in 2013 when the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones season 3 aired, and everyone around me was talking about it, but somehow I managed to escape spoilers about whom was murdered at the wedding. Now, even if you weren't spoiled, I think a red wedding kind of gives the idea that the red is the blood and people were going to be killed. Over time, for some reason, I got the idea that the people who died at the wedding were like the people who ended up not being the victims of the red wedding. Yesterday, you saw me picking up Lena Dunham's book. I really love it. She's a majestic writer. She's so funny. And right now I'm on the part where she just got the deal with HBO and she's writing the pilot episodes and pretty much figuring out how to work in the professional TV and film industry and not the like indie New York scene that she had been working in. It turns out she knew Ben and John Safdie in her like earlier years in New York, which I thought was pretty random but pretty cool. She's for sure a Nepo baby and she does acknowledge that. Her parents had, if not like top connections, some like 6 degree of separation kind of connections that accommodated her entry into the industry. But anyway, my plan yesterday was to kind of close shop, go to my room, go to my bed, and just read more of Dunham's memoir until I fell asleep. And then I remembered, annoyingly, when I had left A Storm of Swords, I had left it on like a really weird page number. I'm weird like that. I think I finished at like page 672 or something, and it annoyed me that I didn't reach page 700. So I was like, okay, let me just get to page 700 and then I'll switch back to Dunham and, you know, call it a night. Well, the red wedding happened in those like 30 or so pages. And after that, I didn't know who Lena Dunham was. I didn't care. I just wanted to read more of A Storm of Swords and immediately go to season 3 and try to catch up with my reading. And today I took a day off, so this was pre-planned. Obviously, it's not a result of needing to read A Storm of Swords, but it's unfortunate that it ended up being this way because all I want to do today and all I plan on doing is reading A Storm of Swords. I mean, I do have to get back to Dunham's book, which I am excited about because I am loving it. And I just got a notification from Libby that my audiobook for it has arrived, so that'll speed things up hopefully. But yeah, going back to the red wedding. So in my mind, some hated characters were the ones who were going to get, you know, chopped at this wedding. And in the book, up until whatever 670 something, there were 2 weddings being discussed, and one of those weddings featured the people that I thought were going to be the victims. And this second wedding was kind of like random and like unnecessary wedding that the characters were just trying to do to forge alliances. And I thought the main wedding was gonna come later. Well, I was wrong. I can't believe I really have gone 13 years not knowing who dies. And then I reached page 700 and I was like, I need to go to see the TV show. But then like my favorite characters' chapters were coming up. Like I like reading John, I like reading Arya, I like reading Sam, I like Tyrion. And those were all the chapters. It's like, oh my god. The one time I need Daenerys to show up, it's John and Sam. It's all my faves. And speaking of Daenerys, I've kind of figured out why like her chapters irk me. Yesterday I said it was like the pirate aesthetic. It's not exactly that. It's more like a Lawrence of Arabia-esque vibe to her character. I think she is, you know, a feminist icon in the series, and it's true, she does represent that, but I'm getting like white savior vibes. I'm getting, what do they call them? What do they call the guy in Dune? Let me see. Muad'Dib. Paul Atreides, how the people call him Muad'Dib. I'm getting like, you know, foreigner goes into the foreign lands, learns their language and culture, and is gonna save the people and give them independence and freedom. And I know race is not exactly as it is in our real world in Westeros and in the Freelands or whatever they're called, but they're definitely inspired by real world racial stratification, like when the Targaryens are all pale and icy blonde, and then the free folk are like my skin tone, or brown people are like vaguely Middle Eastern looking. I mean, like, I know in this world it's uncommon for people to even treat the free folk as people and to even bother learning their customs and language and not treat them like, you know, savages. That's what some characters call them in the books, and Daenerys doesn't. So it's like, okay, pat on the back for not, but is that like the biggest compliment you can have? Like, wow, you're not treating them like savages, you must be a hero. Like, I don't know, it's a low bar, but I do acknowledge the systems in this fantasy are a little bit different, and Daenerys, you know, she is strong-willed and she is kind of fighting all the expectations put on her and showing how a woman can rule. So I do like that, but I don't know, some of her chapters, that's just, I'm getting Lawrence of Arabia. I want to read A Storm of Swords. I'm going to finish my breakfast and just get to it. Since I last caught up with you, I pretty much got sidetracked with the TV show Game of Thrones, and I am almost done with season 3, which means that my reading got pushed back a little bit. Good news though, I made a mistake. Fame Sick is not due this Wednesday, but due September 2nd. I don't know how I made that mistake, but it's good for me because that means I can go a little bit more slowly with A Storm of Swords. I ended up getting about this far through page 913. The Red Wedding was just the beginning. The person that I thought was going to die in the Red Wedding ended up dying a little bit later. This book is crazy. This has to be my favorite so far in the series. More action-packed than A Clash of Kings, on par with book 1. Quite honestly, for tonight, I'm done with this book. I have about 3.5 hours left on my audiobook, so I should be able to finish it tomorrow. For the rest of the night, I think I'm just gonna finish season 3. I have 2 episodes left. I purposely saved episode 9, which I know is the Red Wedding episode. I saved it to close off my evening. TV show is so good. Charles Dance, I think that's the actor who plays Tywin Lannister. He needs to be in everything. He is so elegant and so perfect. I've seen him on The Crown also. He tends to play these like regal, stiff upper lip kind of characters. He's brilliant and he's so commanding on screen. It's incredible. Lady Odell, or whatever her name is, she is with the Tyrells. Sassy queen. I love her. She's refreshingly honest. I think she's up to no good though. She's cooking up something. I really just need tomorrow to get here because I want to see how this book ends. I don't have the day off, so it's gonna be, you know, fitting in the reading when I can, but the plan is to finish this book tomorrow and hopefully continue in the TV show. So for now, have a good night. Maybe I'll do a quick little update once I finish this bad boy. I finished all 1,128 pages of A Storm of Swords, 5 stars. The first 5-star book of the year, the first 5-star book in quite some time. I'll talk more about my detailed thoughts in my monthly wrap-up, but I have to say this blew me away. I couldn't stop reading it. I'm so amazed by the character arcs of some of the main cast. Jaime Lannister growing a heart and becoming like a semi-decent person. Cersei, even though she's still not great, you can kind of see where a character like her comes from because of how she's been held back because of her gender in this world, but I mean, she still sucks. It's the humanization of everyone in here that just blew me away. The way that religion is explored in here, there's so many different gods, like the old gods, the 7 gods, this new red fire god or whatever, R'hllor, and according to the followers of each of these religions, like their god is the true god because they follow, or their prayers are being answered, but everyone's saying that, so can all of them be real at the same time? I'm just so impressed by the way George R.R. Martin maps out all the plot lines so that tying back into this religious theme, you know, one character could be praying for this one thing to happen, and then meanwhile you cut to another timeline and you see what is happening in that timeline, and then the other timeline, the people who are praying find out that what happens in the other timeline, and they say, oh, you see, it's because we prayed, but we saw in the other timeline the machinations behind like some battles and like what actually led to some events that have nothing to do with this particular god, but like the way that Martin has to plan everything out, it's amazing. I also advanced in the TV show. I am about midway through season 4. There are some things that did not happen in this book that are happening in season 4, which I'm assuming is because in this book, their chapters or their storyline was developing rather slowly and maybe takes front and center in this book, but it's not like the TV show can like pause that storyline without making it seem awkward. You can't just not know about Theon Greyjoy for, you know, 8 episodes if he was featured on the show, even though his story isn't really developing that much in this one. I'm guessing it's more developed in this one, but I dug this out of my shelf because I am planning on starting it very soon. I need to finish Lena Dunham's book. That should be a fairly quick read, quicker than, you know, these books. But as soon as I finish that, I'm gonna dive right into this one. I can't wait. I've heard great things about this one too. Not so great about A Dance with Dragons, but I'm just gonna enjoy the ride while I can. Just so happy to finally finish A Storm of Swords after so many years of having it on my shelf and being clueless about the Red Wedding and the TV show. Now I feel like I'm in the know and just utterly obsessed. So I would say successful reading vlog, finished 2 books. started another one and have plans of starting yet another book. One 5-star book, cannot complain. Let's see if I can do another one of these soon, maybe on another weekend. Thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye.